You want to know the moment I realized I'd gotten this completely wrong? It was about 3 weeks after I got here. I was standing in a little hardware store, trying to buy a light switch, sweating through my blouse, and the woman behind the counter looked at me and said, "Mom, you come back this afternoon. My husband will get it from the other store." And I said, "Well, how much will it be?" And she just smiled and said, "Don't worry, ma'am. Don't worry." That was the answer. No price, no time, nothing. And I walked out into that wall of heat thinking, I have sold my house and given away my furniture and flown 8,000 miles to a place where you can't even buy a light switch on a Tuesday. What have I done? That was 5 years ago. And I want to tell you the things nobody tells you, the real things, because the videos will sell you the beach and the cheap rent, and they will leave out everything that actually matters. So let me back up, because nothing makes sense if I just drop you in the middle. My name's Ellen. I grew up outside Akron, Ohio, the kind of place where the plants left and the town just held its breath for 30 years. My mother cleaned houses for the families up on the hill and came home with her hands cracked and red. I spent 33 years working in a hospital as a unit clerk, the overnight shift mostly, the invisible woman at the desk who keeps a floor running while everybody sleeps. I married Dan when I was 24. He worked maintenance at the same hospital, and he had this quiet way about him, and the first time he made me laugh so hard, I cried. I think I just decided right then. We had one girl, Beth, and the way our life worked never changed. I worked nights, he worked days, and we passed each other in the driveway, like two people running a relay that never ended. We were tired, not dramatic, nobody starving, just tired in this low background way for about 3 decades. And there was this word that ran through our whole marriage, the word someday. Someday, Ellen, let's see a warm ocean, the kind with the blue water in the magazines. I used to clip pictures of beaches out of the magazines in the waiting room and keep them in a kitchen drawer. And Dan would tease me, planning a trip we'll never take. And I'd say, I'm keeping it ready. And I kept that dream ready, and he never got to spend it. Dan's heart gave out at 62. And then there wasn't a someday anymore. I found those clippings when I cleaned out the house. There's one in there that looks exactly, and I mean exactly, like the coast I can see from this porch right now. I've stopped trying to explain it. After Dan passed, I went back to that desk in 11 days, because I didn't know what else to do with my hands, and I kept working. 62, 63, 64, and Beth was grown and out in Denver, and the house was enormous and silent, and I figured I'd work till my knees quit and taper off quiet in the Ohio cold on Social Security and almost nothing else. And then a woman I used to work with came back to visit with this ridiculous February tan and told me she lived in the Philippines now, and she told me numbers. And she wasn't bragging, that's the thing. The good ones never sell you. And something happened in my chest I can only call the floor, turning into a door. So here's the first thing nobody tells you. They tell you it's the money that stops people. It isn't. I had the numbers worked out in a paper notebook inside of a month. What stops you is the guilt. Nobody warns you how loud that voice gets, the one that says, a good mother stays, a good grandmother is around the corner, not 8,000 miles away. Who do you think you are? Sit down, you're 64. I lived in that drawer for a year. And what nobody tells you is this, and it took me years to learn it. Guilt is not the same as being wrong. You can do the right thing and still feel guilty. Sometimes guilt is just the price of finally choosing yourself after a lifetime of choosing everybody else, and you have to be willing to pay it. What finally moved me was my daughter. I told her sideways, like a joke, "Your old mum's been looking at the Philippines," and I braced for the worried look. Instead, she got quiet and said, "Mum, when's the last time you sounded excited about anything?" And I didn't have an answer. And then she said the thing that broke me. She said, "I'd rather have a happy mum on a video call than a sad one down the street." So I got a passport at 64, never owned one, held that blue book at the kitchen table like it was made of gold, the first document I'd ever had that wasn't a bill. Here's the second thing nobody tells you. The practical one, and it's the one that ruins people. As a foreigner, you cannot own land here, ever. It's in their constitution. You can own a house, you can own a condo, but never the dirt underneath it. And I have watched foreigners fall in love and pour their entire life savings into building a beautiful house on land in somebody else's name, and then the relationship went bad, and they learned that you cannot take a house with you. So I rent. I've rented for 5 years, and I sleep just fine. And the visa, thank God, is the easy part. They have a proper retirement visa here, the SSRRV, where at 50, with a pension over $800 a month, you park a refundable deposit in an accredited bank and pay a small yearly fee, and you can stay for good. And here's the third thing nobody tells you, and it's the one that saved me. Time works differently here, and it will drive you insane before it heals you. When the man says he'll come Tuesday, he might mean Thursday, and he might not come at all because it's his cousin's baptism, and that is simply more important than your fence. For 33 years, I ran a hospital desk where late meant somebody's medication was late, and my first year here, I was furious constantly, checking my watch, feeling disrespected. And then I understood I had it backwards. They're not failing to value time. They're valuing the person in front of them more than the clock. And I had to ask myself who actually had it right, me with my schedule and my blood pressure, or them. Let me tell you the moment I knew I'd been right to come. My scouting trip, the little airport, the heat, these motorcycle taxis they call tricycles, buzzing everywhere like a swarm, and I'm jet-lagged and overwhelmed thinking, "What have you done, Ellen?" And we stop at a red light, and a little girl on the back of her father's motorbike, maybe 6, in her school uniform, looks over at this big, confused, grey American woman and just waves, this enormous grin, like she's known me her whole life, and her father laughs and waves too, at a stranger, at a red light, and something in my chest that had been locked since Dan died came loose. Now here's the life I actually built, and here's the fourth thing nobody tells you, which is what having a helper really means. I rent a little concrete house up in the Cooler Hills, tile floors, a porch that runs the whole front, a mango tree in the yard, and from here I can see the ocean going silver all the way out to the next island. $400 a month. And there's a woman named Maribel who comes 4 mornings a week, and the videos make this sound like you snap your fingers and a maid appears, and it is nothing like that. Maribel's 42, lives down the road with her husband and 3 kids. The first morning I followed her around trying to help, grabbed the other end of the sheet, and she stopped and said, "Mom Ellen, this is my job. You are making it harder." And it hit me like a truck, because I watched my mother do that exact work for 30 years and come home with her hands cracked and red. And I felt this hot wave of shame, like I'd become one of the families up on the hill. So I made myself sit down, and it was one of the hardest things I've done here. What turned it was this. I pay her well above the going rate and a bonus at Christmas. And when her youngest needed an operation on his ear, I covered it, and it cost me about 1 old cable bill, and that money is putting her oldest through nursing school. I'm not a lady up on the hill looking down. I'm a woman who knows exactly what that work is worth, because my mother did it, and I'm finally in a position to pay it right. My whole month, everything in, lands around $1,000, and my Social Security covers it with room to spare. Now the hard parts, straight, because anybody who tells you it's all mango trees is selling you something. The heat in April sits on you like a wet blanket. The rainy season floods the roads, and the power goes out, and you sit in the dark and sweat. The paperwork will test your soul. You'll stand in a line for 2 hours and learn you needed 1 more photocopy and come back tomorrow. And there are typhoons, and my second year a big one came through, and the wind came up the valley in the night, sounding like a freight train that never passed. And I sat in the dark listening to the mango tree groan, thinking, "What have you done, you old fool? You're alone on a mountain on the far side of the earth." That's real. I won't sand it down for you. But you know what happened the next morning? Before I'd even sorted myself out, there was a knock, and it was Maribel's husband and 2 neighbor boys, soaked to the bone, come up the road to clear my gate. They had their own roofs to worry about. They came to mine first. And here's the last thing nobody tells you. The biggest one. The one the cost of living videos can never reach. You bring your grief with you. The view does not fix it. There are nights on this beautiful porch. I miss Dan so badly I can't breathe. And the ocean doesn't care. But the loneliness does lift. And it lifts because of people. Back home I lived next to the same neighbors for 20 years and we waved. Here, 6 months in, I had a village. When I had a fever, 3 different families sent somebody to check on me. My neighbor brings me food for no reason but that she cooked too much and thought of me. And I talk to Beth more now than when I lived a 4-hour drive away, because now we actually make the time. People ask if I have regrets, and I've got exactly one. It's not that I came, it's that I waited. I want to reach back through time and grab that tired, invisible woman at the hospital desk and shake her and tell her the ocean doesn't check your resume. It doesn't care that you were the one nobody thanked. So if you're out there tonight with the numbers half worked out and the guilt sitting on your chest, I'm just one woman on a porch. But I'll tell you the thing nobody told me. You're allowed. You're actually allowed to go. It's going gold over the valley now, the mist coming back up the hills. In a little while, Maribel's husband is going to putter by on his tricycle and honk hello, and I'm going to sit here a while longer, in the life I almost talked myself out of. And the light switch, by the way, her husband did get it. Took 2 days. I still buy from that store, and every time she tells me not to worry, I actually believe her now. That might be the whole thing right there. It took me 5 years to learn how not to worry. I had to fly to the other side of the world to learn it. We finally got to our someday, and I promise you, whoever you are, you're allowed to go too.